Last episode, Chef Marc's tutelage on Haitian ingredients formed a semblance in my mind of what Haitian dishes, flavors, and textures could look like. Today, he's got surprises up his apron for this young grasshopper. Join me how to cook a Haitian national dish in under 30 minutes in one pot. Come on, it's 2022. Who's got the enthusiasm to do dishes and slave over a hot stove all day? Not I. He then promised me a sensuous Haitian feast, which will solidify my understanding of core Haitian dishes. After that, me and the crew will drive to Montreal, the Haitian epicenter of Canada, to more deeply experience Haitian food and culture. Here we is, the Dépanneur, a commercial kitchen in downtown Toronto. Chef's 30-minute dish of choice, Diri Djon Djon, a concoction of rice and aromatics steeped in a black inky-like potion. Donde, it's colored by the rare Djon Djon mushroom, a fungus grown in only one country in the world. Ingredients include the transformative épice, a wonderfully pungent herbal, vegetable, and spice paste.
This is our traditional Haitian green seasoning.
Oh, yeah.
Every island has their version of this. This is the foundation of all Haitian cooking.
Oh.
Every dish, every family has a different version of this though, but the base of everyone is always gonna be parsley, garlic, and some sort of onion, whether that's scallion, onion, different kinds.
And
of
you use it
family.
as a marinade as well as a cooking agent.
Very
to transmit
versatile,
flavor.
very versatile.
Awesome. The Haitian litmus test. If you see a piece in someone's fridge, bingo, the household's Haitian. This is the one ingredient you have to have beforehand. You could buy it or make in stock in fridge or freezer. Thyme, Scotch bonnet, ground clove, lima beans, shrimp, and of course the Djon Djon stock. Start by washing the rice. Heat olive oil, add the épice. Stir so the garlic doesn't burn, is slightly caramelized, and the raw scent is cooked out. Add thyme. Once the épice separates from oil, it's ready for next steps. Scotch bonnet, ground clove, add lima beans and shrimp. Season with salt, add that stock imbued with the Djon Djon mushroom. Add rice, cover, and let simmer for 25, which gives us time to get happy on Haitian Barbancourt 5-star rum. Marc's aunt, affectionately referred to as Jeune Tante, a first-generation Haitian preserving traditions from a country which her parents and sister fled in 1979 due to conditions created by Papa Doc, a tyrannical dictator who had ongoing support from the US government, ostensibly to stop communism from spreading, but really for business interests. Not the Papa Doc who was too shook to battle B-Rabbit. This Papa Doc regime ran an autocratic, despotic government, which led to brain drain throughout the 70s and 80s. Now you mentioned security was one thing that you left in 79. What was lacking in security in Haiti?
You see, my parents, once we got up here, told us. But when I was living in Haiti, it was a paradise. It doesn't look the same at all. There's no comparison.
Yeah, sometimes the headlines are a little bit different than what you
Even,
experience, right?
even now, we live up here and we hear things that my brother that lives back there doesn't even know about.
Okay. Sensationalized
Exactly.
events, right? And
Exactly.
stuff like that.
I want to remember my country the way I used to see it when I was small.
Yeah.
I went back on vacation, but when I went back the first time, I cried like a kid.
Yeah.
Because I've seen things that I didn't see when I was there.
Poverty,
Poverty, a lot.
a lot of poverty. And what you mentioned, that's a big thing, right? Remittances. It seems that Haitian diaspora here really contributes a lot in terms of finances. As we saw today at Ken's Haitian market, they had a money transfer, right? Remittances, the process of the Haitian diaspora sending money back to their family, accounts for roughly 1/3 of the Haitian GDP. There's been a social order in Haiti from the days of 1804 when it became an independent nation, right? There's been a social order based on skin color,
Right.
based on bloodlines,
Yes.
right? Was that still in place when you were? Did
I
you
didn't
still
see
feel
it.
you didn't see it?
I didn't
But
see
you
it
were
when I
young
was
at the
I
time.
was pretty young.
Yeah, yeah.
But my parents and my sisters,
They experienced
brother,
that.
experienced it.
Yes, the age-old problem where we rank people based on superficial traits like skin color. Do you always have that feeling? Okay, I'm
Right.
Canadian, but I want to go back, either in the form of I'm going to retire, live there, or I am going to own a vacation property, for example.
My heart is still over there. Even
Okay.
though I came up here really young. I love my country. For me to say I'm going back, a lot of things have to change. And I do want to be a part of that change, but not in that way. Maybe financially and opening something that could create jobs over there, but going back and live there, I don't think so.
Hope, it may seem far. There's always hope. There's always hope. Once we say there's no hope, then we automatically gave up. We gave up.
Yeah, and Haitians don't give up.
Haitians don't give up.
They're resilient people.
Okay, food's ready. Chef Marc promised he'd fix a memorable meal, a Haitian repast replete with all the fixings. And yo, I'm not saying this to be nice, but he over-delivered.
Marc, this is Haiti on a plate, man.
Yes, sir.
This is Haiti on a plate. This is the representation, right?
100%. This is a trip throughout the entire country.
Where do I start? I'm going to start with the griot,
Yeah,
right?
start with the griot, for sure.
Like,
Twice fried pork, braised, marinated in sour orange, some citrus, different aromatics, braised, cool down cut, deep
It's
fried.
so tender. How is this so tender?
That's the brine. The brine actually breaks down the meat.
And that's not traditional. The brine, people don't brine.
Most people don't do that, but I prefer it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. You gotta get some of that with the peppers. And the trick with that is the rich fattiness of that with the pikliz to cut the acid.
Yeah, that like pork's not my top favorite meats, but this changes my opinion. This is phenomenal.
In my opinion, this is the best way to cook pork in the world.
This is pork shoulder?
Pork shoulder, yeah.
Phenomenal.
That's the one right there.
That's a winner. Yeah, we can only go down now.
I know. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't a roller coaster, trust me. We stay here.
Okay, we're gonna stay there. Okay.
Next up, you might want to get the white rice with the bean sauce. The Sos Pwa.
Clove.
Black beans.
That's so soothing. That's vegetarian too.
Vegetarian.
That's vegetarian.
Vegan.
Vegan. Like I could totally not miss the meat.
Right here, this is legume. This is stewed down vegetables, some tubers, some squash, cabbage.
Yeah, this is your all-in-one. Now you did meat in this, but you could do it vegetarian.
Yes, you can definitely do a vegetarian, but in this version, there's beef short rib in there.
Short rib. Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of shank as well. Yeah. And that
cabbage.
Cabbage, yes.
Yeah, cabbage.
Carrot, and there's chayote squash. Chayote squash as well in there, yeah, for the texture, yep. That pairs with the bean sauce and the white rice. You get all that together in the bite, you're living a good life.
All right, let's go to the tostones.
Yes.
Is that what it's called, tostones?
Tostones, yes, but for us we call it Bannan Peze. The literal translation is pressed banana, but Bannan Peze is what we call them.
Okay.
Twice fried plantain with some pikliz on top. Pikliz is a staple in Haitian food.
Yeah.
Cabbage, carrots, onion, other spices, vinegar, and sour orange juice. So that's gonna cut through anything rich you eat.
Okay, I'm taking this with my hand. I don't know if that's the right way, but
that's the only way.
Yeah.
That's the only way.
Oh yeah, that's.
Yeah. Look at that heat coming through. I know, man. I know. Slightly fermented. You want to ferment this in the fridge. It takes minimum 3 days in the fridge. Every Haitian household you go to, you're gonna find a jar that's in the fridge. And the vinegar. Do you want some of the vinegar? The vinegar is the best part.
Absolutely.
Get some of that.
Yeah, you said sour orange. The sour orange.
Sour orange, little vinegar, some Scotch bonnet.
Just that acidity.
Yeah.
It's
cut
not
through
overpowering.
Everything. No.
A little pungency.
Yeah.
A little bit of the heat.
Yeah. Djon Djon, the Diri Djon Djon, the main event. So that's the black mushroom rice that we made earlier today.
You like mushrooms? You're gonna like Djon Djon.
100%.
You like mushrooms? Oh yeah. And the savoriness hangs there. It doesn't just hang quickly. Like there's.
It's a complete meal on its own.
And I'm tasting the Scotch bonnet pepper at the end.
Yeah. Not overwhelming though, right?
Not
you get that
overwhelming.
fruitiness, the pepperiness, all that comes out. The
Oh,
shrimp.
yeah.
This is soup Joumou. It's tradition to eat this every 1st of January.
Yeah.
The story behind the soup is actually really cool. Take a bite.
Yeah. No, I'm just looking. I love how you can see the oil separated from the soup, but there's a nice amount of fat and oil.
Beef.
That's from the beef, right? Which is the oxtail type you put in.
Oxtail and a little bit of short rib, yeah.
Oh, my favorite.
So the story with this is when Haiti was enslaved, they weren't allowed to eat prime cuts of beef. They weren't allowed to have this soup. The second they got their independence, they said, we're gonna eat all the things that we couldn't eat before. So this is, it's a celebration, honestly. The first year of independence, January 1st, they said, we're gonna party and we're gonna have this soup. So every year.
This is a big fuck you to the colonial power.
100%. This is the biggest fuck you can have. We couldn't have it before, we're gonna take it and make it even better.
We're gonna make it better. Year. I love it. This is a rebellion soup. there's a uniqueness that's not present in all the other foods from the Caribbean islands. There's a uniqueness. You got the mushrooms. I never had mushrooms in any other Caribbean island. The pork, I haven't had pork like that with those flavors. The pikliz, you know, and then the legume. Like everything's just, you know, it's like a comforting stew, but phenomenal. And then the beef, everything. Like, go and get Haitian food if you haven't had Haitian food. Call Chop Time.
Chop Time Catering.
Chop Time Catering too, right? If you haven't had it, so awesome.
Appreciate it, man.
Again, man.
Thank you, bro. Thank you for having me, man.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
This is the type of food I love. Made from scratch, devoid of laboratory chemical-laden ingredients. And it's accessible. These aren't fine dining prices. We thank Marc and his aunt and are ready to make our next move. I want to get more intimate with Haitian food and culture. I'm past the toddler stage of learning, and it's time to ditch the diaper. But our movements are restricted. Big Brother's got us on COVID lockdown, like after a shank fest at a San Quentin prison riot. At least it feels like that. The crew and I decide to move within the allowable interprovincial limits to Montreal, Quebec, home to 100,000 plus Haitian diaspora. My unofficial poll with Canadian Haitians clearly points me to Marche Meli-Melo, a Haitian Caribbean grocery store which doubles as what Quebecois call a casse-croûte, translating a light meal. The portions are anything but. Kettlebell-sized servings are filled to the brim in styrofoam containers. It's like visiting your grandma's house, huge portions, home-cooked taste, minus the floral couch and hand-sewn tablecloth curtains. It's 1 hour to closing, and I can empathize with the employees, recalling my retail days of slogging it out on the feet for 8 hours. The last thing they want is a Toronto Maple Leaf who speaks grade 3 French nursery rhymes, peppering them with questions and putting a camera in their face. But yo, I know how to put points up on the board.
Okay, c'est le Sos Pwa? Sos Pwa, legume, poulet en sauce. Okay. Poulet frites.
Swish, bam, and the dagger. Jeez! The lady behind the counter warms up to me and validates my answers like Alex Trebek as I pick each suspect out of a hot table lineup. But even my game is wearing thin as I massacre the French language and overstay my welcome. The owner, Michel, is warm, inviting, and thank God he speaks English, throwing me a life preserver because I was drowning in a sea of French conjugations. They carry all the staples here, and having had most of them, I'm itching to try something new. We get the poulet frit, which is the fried chicken, the legumes, this time with goat, the rice and peas, and saunter back to our Airbnb happy. The food is exactly what I expected, comforting and well seasoned. Next episode, we visit the studio of a renowned Haitian Canadian artist, whose depictions of Haiti in paint form are mesmerizing. Then hit up an elevated pan-Caribbean restaurant headed by a well-known chef who's plied his trade in world-renowned restaurants.